everyone, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today the Chevy Longhorn is being a service truck. We've been working on all this hay over here. Trey has been tedding, Dad's been baling and cutting, and it's been going sections at a time. We've started on the field on the other side of the creek, which is our east field, and it's divided into two sections. He went over this morning with the John Deere 70 and the sickle bar mower, and he came back. He suddenly started losing air in the front tire of the tractor. It's been working pretty hard, so we're taking it over some fuel and a tank of air to see if we can keep going for a while. And there's just no explanation. We'll have to air it up, take it off, and see if there's a problem with it. We'll either have to switch it out with a tractor tire off of another tractor for the day until we can get to it. We're pushing hard. We checked the weather today, and we are in about a 1 week stretch of no rain. There was just a small, like 18% chance of a rain shower today, and possibly they said a thunderstorm tomorrow. It comes and goes, nothing ever happens with it. We have an escapee. George tends to follow us out of the house, so we have to always check when we go by running equipment. So we're going to pick up a hitchhiker here, and he'll go over to the hayfield with us.
Want to drive?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll go over and go take a look and see what's going on with it.
Well, that way a little bit. Steer a little bit. Yeah. Doing good? Steer a little bit. Steer a little bit. A little bit. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
So he's the farmer and the master mechanic all at the same time. Trey ran this last night to do tedding. So he made this air tank a long time ago, and you can use it for doing like a blast of air when you're trying to get a tire to seat on the rim when you're remounting a tire. But they come in really handy to be able to use it as a portable air tank to come out to the field like this. Real good things to have. A lot of farmers make them and have them. They're just kind of a go-to deal so that you don't have to run a generator and a compressor and everything if you can get by with just one tank of air. We'll see if it'll hold, and if I need to go back and get another tank of air, I can. And top off the fuel, it's already been going for a while. He came out here and tedded this early this morning and then started cutting in. Looks like he's got about 2 passes in before he had problems. He's just going around in a big triangle, and he said where Trey was up yesterday, day before by that walnut tree, it's real sandy, so he's thinking it'll dry off pretty good. But this is the established hay field with the tall fescue. I don't know what other grasses are in it, probably brome. There's the alfalfa and the clover, but this is always really, really nice hay. And that lower part by the creek and along the woods always takes an extra day to dry. So for the first time ever, he decided to ted it a second round to help it dry out because it was going to be so sunny today. Hissing or leaking out the valve stem. Alright, he didn't tell me in what order to do this. I'm the service guy. So we're going to fill it. Now the valve's open. Instead of leaking out, it's going in. This is just the hose hooked up to the air compressor. I got it powered on. Sounds like it's full. No more air's going in. Close the valve before we take the hose off. here. The handle broke off. Gonna have to get a new one. All right, unplug that. Alright, that's all unplugged. That way we don't have to worry about kicking on when no one's around here, you know, running excessively. Save your power. So he said it was leaking air at the stem. Something must have got in it. I don't know. But I'm going to take him another tank of air so that to make sure that he can get that here. So you got one more time around while I was gone? It's just leaking right back out. So what are you going to do?
Maybe just sit here with the truck off for a minute.
Yeah?
And then when we run out of air, just call it good.
Okay.
It's going to be too much of a pain to...
You don't want to drive it back. What's annoying about this is you'd like to just have a tube on hand for it, and we may. A couple of years ago we tried having backup tubes on the shelf, and it was always cheaper to buy them on eBay or buy them in quantities, you know, to get a discount. Now there's a local tire and tube place in Lansing by the airport, and I don't even like Quality Tire sort of thing, and they have a pretty good supply in stock. But when it comes to farm implement things, everything is an odd size. So if they have to wait to get it, we might as well order it on eBay. So we tried having extras and duplicates on the shelf. If we had one go bad, we would just order two. The trouble is, if it sits there for any amount of time, we would go back to it, and through the plastic bag, through the boxes, the mice get into stuff, and we were pulling out brand new tubes that had been chewed through. Well, you know, you have to patch them to get by, but that's not convenient either. So, you know, this is our busy time of year with this, and he is solely running this tractor right now. He's still got that starter issue with the one tractor. We talked about it 2 or 3 years ago when we were unloading that steel building out in the woods, about it having some kind of sprockets in the starter that needed to be replaced. And holy balls, that was hard to find, and we eventually did find them somewhere, but he's got to take the starter apart, and you know, he doesn't like to spend a whole lot of time out in the shop organizing and creating a workspace, so things end up getting done at the dinner table, you know, covering up the dinner table and working there, because he'd rather visit with the kids and sit there with me and kind of get the work done. And well, you know, then you start watching YouTube or doing this or that and playing with the kids, and there's homework and studies, and the projects that can get done kind of don't get done. I've got a lineup of my own going on with that right now. So long story long, you don't want to have too many parts on hand, because then the parts sit around and mice can get into them, or like if they're, you know, rubber parts and that, they can deteriorate and go bad. So it's just better to kind of order things as we go. I decided to come find a shady spot to park, which, you know, in an open hay field, you'd be surprised at how hard that is to find. So I'm here on the edge of the woods, and I'm just going to sit here and wait for him. He was able to go another round and a few more feet while I was gone getting the tank of air. So he's thinking he's going to get another round out of that. I don't know if the tire was less flat before, but it took the whole tank of air. Maybe I didn't get it as full. I don't know. Maybe the air compressor, maybe the breaker was tripped or something at the shop. I'm not sure. I didn't really check. It just didn't kick on, so I wasn't too concerned about it. So I think the plan is he's going to get as far as he can go. We'll go back, have lunch, and then just bring back a replacement whole tire and rim off of a different tractor and change it right here in the field so that he can keep going. We had about a half a tank of air left. He said he didn't think that the tank was as full as it should have been. Maybe the air compressor should have kicked on while I used it. So we went back and got another tank of air just now. He wants to do 8 passes. He said when he gets to the end of this row, it'll be 6 passes. He usually does 8 so that he can merge them into 4 cuts into 1 row or maybe 2, I'm not sure. I think they go 2 one way, 2 the other with their raking and everything when they're doing it. So it's gonna take a lot extra out of this. He said we'll just go ahead and swap it and order the replacement if we don't have it on the shelf and get it coming and just run it with a different tractor tire and rim like I had mentioned before. So the stopping is putting off lunch and my stomach is growling. Yesterday was a birthday around here, so we all had garbage food yesterday. I think we woke up hungry. I was getting ready to have some breakfast when he came and got me, so I skipped that and only got coffee today. And, well, some big kids stayed up late last night eating extra cake, so I figured more for them than for me. I don't need more than a piece anyway. Well, we got the tire swapped out with the second service vehicle. We had to load up everything into the car. The truck's been running a little rich. He thinks it's got a bad coil on it. So now he's gonna switch over to that job, and we're seeing about some hay rake teeth from John Deere. They're cheaper than they used to be. So we're gonna try a few and see if they might last any better than the ones that we're picking up at Tractor Supply. I know it doesn't seem like paying $2 is a big deal, but when you're doing $25, $40 every single time you use it and you're not doing that much hay, it shouldn't be that much. And when we're getting into our straw, you tend to break a lot more. And we know that partially it's the clover and the dampness of it. When you go into the hay raking, the tedder is already doing so much and it should be drying out enough that it's not damaging them that way. So Trey's doing the tedding right now while Dad is figuring out the truck. He told me, turn the key, like the coil wasn't quite doing its job, and I was able to start it twice and it stalled out. So we didn't know if it was low on fuel. Does your gas gauge not work?
Huh?
Is the gas gauge not working?
No, that's the only thing that doesn't work.
Okay, so it could have been that. It stalled on me earlier. Sounds like that maybe is all it was, but he thinks he's got a weak coil. If it's not one thing, it's another. All right, we are back at our haymaking again today. We have started in on that east field over on the other side of the creek over there. Trey's gonna do some hay raking today. He's been waiting for his dad to finish up his work so that he could take over the tractor. We went over to the John Deere dealership yesterday or the day before, knowing that we were going to need a few more hay rake teeth. Now that dealership has just changed ownership, and when we had called about replacement hay teeth years ago, they had gone up to $8. So we were picking up just basic, let me find one like this, and they were all breaking right here, and I can even see on this one there's a slight crack right there. Now don't change them if they're just a little cracked, okay? We gotta go ahead and get our money out of them to wear them right out.
We'll just put one on.
No extra spending sooner than we need to, right? So we called them, and now they have this one called AI Products hay rake tooth, and it's a lot heavier of a plastic boot. The material is harder, and we were finding that the ones at Tractor Supply were getting softer and softer, so they're just breaking too soon. This is, I think, one from Tractor Supply. It says A&L UST-1. So that's mounted on there. See how much that's moving around. He'll get another one of those on there for me, and we'll see how flexible it is. You want it to flex some or it's just going to break, but this other, they just kept maybe because of petroleum prices going up, Dad said, making them cheaper. So this AI one was like $3.50, and this is the John Deere one, and it is $5. And I'll tell you, we definitely see a difference. This center part right here has another layer of rubber on the inside of the metal, so maybe that is penetrating that and making it a lot stronger. But basically, every time we go out and do raking, he's got a 5-gallon bucket down here. He lets me know if they're out, and I buy as many as the store has every time I go out. Sometimes it's 20, sometimes it's 40. The last time I went out, I bought 23. He came back, he got it already. His dad said they used every single one of them. That puts us already at 65 to 70 teeth purchased for this year. That's not including the ones we already had in stock, and he already had a half a bucket at the beginning of the season. Now we've done this field over here that is roughly 3 to 5 acres. The north field is 30 or 40 acres, and the field that we are working on now, I believe, is something like 45 or 50 acres. I'm not real sure about that. But we can't keep doing this. At $2 a piece, there's no savings if they're getting a one-time use. So we upped our game. We went ahead. We're gonna try these out. He's got, how many rows you got over there, bud?
5. Each has 20 teeth. So 100 teeth.
100 teeth total?
Nope.
Okay. And how much hay do you have to rake today?
Depends on how much is dry.
Okay, so you have some that Dad tedded twice in the wetter section.
No, we took care of that.
Oh, that's all came off yesterday? Okay.
No, we baled that yesterday and I raked it the day before.
Okay. It's hard for me to keep track of what's coming in and what's going out because they just drop it off and tell me, here you go, put it up in the barn. So today we're going to start putting some hay up in the barn. This other field is more mature and it is drier and better to do. So looks like you might need a little pry there. A little pry. Get a pry bar, buddy. I'll get it out. So with all things, sometimes there's savings with going aftermarket and sometimes there's not. You just kind of have to recognize and know the difference. And honestly, it was almost like the other dealership just jacked their prices up because they didn't care whether they were selling them or not. And every dealership around here in like 80 miles was all owned by the same company. So, you know, maybe that was the case. We're not real sure, but these people came in and before they even actually did the name change, the price went down. We bought something over there. What did I go over there for last week?
I don't know.
Oh, those fuel parts.
Yeah.
I got some gaskets for his fuel line or something on the John Deere 70. And he had to swap those out. And they were something like $23, and we thought they should have been $5, but that's just kind of the way some of the parts go. So Trey's gonna go over and do some raking. We will check back with him in a little bit and see how they held up. Well, here we are out in our east field. This is where we have been working lately. Dad was out here. This is where we had the tractor trouble the other day when he was cutting all of this with the bad tire. So I was getting the little boy all set up with his hay rake teeth. We went ahead and made that trip over to the John Deere store, and today is the second day that he's been out with the hay rake. Now yesterday he said when he used it he didn't lose any teeth at all, any of the older ones or the brand new AI ones. So I wanted to come over and see how he was doing before he was all done. You gotta stay back. This guy and this guy are absolute best buddies. He's understanding why he can't ride on the tractor with his brother. He knows he can only ride on the tractor with Dad. I even just don't have the good coordination to hang on to him. And if you're trailering something, with or without fenders, it doesn't matter. It's somebody falls off the back, they're getting run over. So, no little kid tractor rides. They even have old bumper stickers on those that say, "Deny the ride." What little kid doesn't love a tractor ride? So it looks like he's just about done here, a little more to go. I can see it got a lot thinner for him over in this area. and where he was there. When he was up by that walnut tree, he said it was a bit thin right through there too, but these rows are nice and thick, but it looks like he's probably doing those 4 rows to be able to get that much. So, you know, it's been dry. We haven't had hardly any rainfall. It was, you know, kind of starting out as a little bit of wetness, but just not enough rain to shut things down or keep farmers from working. We drove by some soybeans today and they were looking pretty dry and crusty, and you know, those are some small little plants that have to try to grow up through that hard, dry soil. And I can't imagine what it would be like out in those western states where it's so much drier. We didn't get a lot of snowfall this last winter either, so you know, the fact that we have alfalfa in here, it really helps a lot. This field is, you know, this field is a few years old. It's way more normal. This was the second hayfield that we planted. Beyond that walnut tree and this row of grass, that's our dirt piles, was our first hayfield. And we had planted this to corn the first year, and then to beans, and then we kind of caught on to the hay, and we said, hey, you know, we're having to harvest this stuff every year. So we switched to just hay. Trey makes a real good hay farmer. He likes doing this stuff. He's able to do the maintenance on things. He was having a little bit of a trouble with those John Deere hay rake teeth. He ended up putting all AI teeth on it because of it. They're a lot tighter fit where the little C-shape is to put them on the bar. He didn't like that, so you know, that's something to keep in mind. You gotta have ease of use for putting them on. There's always the money factor too, so we'll see how these AI ones do. His dad'll replace the next ones that break with the John Deeres and see how they hold up. But they had a real nice center built up in them. I'm sure they're going to last quite a bit longer than the old ones from Tractor Supply. This guy's getting into trouble. We're into the afternoon. He is not wanting to get dressed, and he's not dressed because Mom was putting hay up in the loft this morning, and it was hot. We did about 250 bales and 85 degrees. It's breezy, but I was dying. I had to go get Jack and have him help, and I'll tell you, I am whipped now. I am wrecked for the day, and my shoulder's hurting. Some of those bales are easily 70 pounds. His triangle's getting smaller. He's almost done. I'm gonna go over there a little closer and we can see him, how he's doing. This is a tricky little spot. He's worked himself down to this little triangle. Getting too hard to turn. This boy has had every possible John Deere Erdl toy tractor and implement you could probably imagine, with the exception of a 4-inch chopper. Little guy's got a birthday coming up, and I thought maybe we'd get him the 4-inch chopper. He likes to watch other channels as well that are farming, and he's seen them do chopping. My house is full of John Deere toys, I'll tell you that though. Driving over his row. Oh, how perfect. Look at that. He does such a nice job. And this is why he retired his mom from hay raking. He likes doing it. I've got other things to do. Nothing gets done when Mom's out on a tractor. Having some boys growing up who have an interest in farming is going to help a lot because the big boys don't have so much of an interest. They'll come and help, and they have their things they like to do. Murdoch started a pumpkin patch the other day, and he's doing real well with that. And even though I had to go get him, Jack did help quite a bit with those bales of hay, getting them up in the loft on that hay elevator. I can already see from a distance, this one's about to go. It's dangling just while he was putting it in transport mode. Is this a new AI one? Must be. No. That must be a Tractor Supply one. The AI ones come up higher
And they're in the
on the bar.
Well, in the center too.
Okay.
That's the Tractor Supply one.
Yeah. Broke one off there, an old one.
These are much firmer. That's a John Deere one from way back right there. They don't have that lip anymore. That one's about junk. That's Tractor Supply.
Yeah. Okay, well you see he left the tags on his AI ones. Old hard rubber tires anyway. And we bought 2 tubes last year. He's gonna take it back to the farm. We're gonna follow him in the car. So it looks like they held real good. We'll go ahead and we'll swap out the next broken ones with John Deere. We'll let you know how those held up in one of the next videos. We'll see you next time, and don't forget to hit that like button for our farm and for our channel and for this good little farmer. See you next time. Bye-bye.